To discuss a very important point. The one thing that I must tell you about all the students, that is the last 5 points are very much important as far as your examination is concerned, right? And what is the basic speciality about as far as they have obviously their own importance. First of all, the last 5 points are very important because its explanation is given from them, reference question is given from them, and examination question definitely is given from all of them. Last, especially the 5 points. As we are talking about the point number 20, and the title of the point is "Say This City Has 10 Million Souls." This one has been written by W.H. Auden. Who was W.H. Auden? W.H. Auden was basically, he was a Britisher who was born in 1907 in England, right? He got his early education there, and somehow he completed his graduation from there. After that, in 1939, he moved to US, and after his movement to USA, he became the native citizen, meaning the citizen of USA. He got the, what we say, citizenship in America. Okay, it means that he totally left England forever. Okay, what are the most important elements as far as Auden's poetry is concerned? Which I always remember that his poetry deals with philosophy and religion. Okay? By philosophy we mean something is hidden, what we see apparently. Right? If a person tells us about, shows us about something, it means that there are hidden meanings behind it. We should not focus up to the apparent meanings. We should try to understand what is the basic message that the writer, that the poet has tried to give us. Okay, and this is what we see in Auden's poetry. That is why his philosophy, his poetry is based on philosophy. And by religion, obviously by nature and by born, he was obviously a Christian person. So he paid very much attention over religious problems as well. Okay, we basically know that in Christianity there are three types of caste system. Okay, number one, the Roman Church. Number two, Catholic Church. Number three, Protestants. Okay, and by nature he was obviously a Catholic person. Right? Catholic, he belongs to the Catholic caste. So what, why, and how he moved to obviously USA, and what he thought about himself, that what were the reasons that he moved from England to obviously USA. At that time, when we talk about the 1939, obviously it was a time when the Second World War was obviously moved on or continued. And at that time, German forces were very much making an attack over especially the Jews, right? So it was obviously what we say, a war, a religious war. OUS. Religious war, because Hitler obviously he was very much against about the Jewish religion, right? Jewish religion means Yahudi Muslim, right? So he wanted to demolish every Jew. He doesn't want to see the Jews in this world, and that is why somehow it has been said that somehow some of the people may say that he was by a religious person as a Jew. So that is why he moved from England to USA. Okay, and we will see about his life and as well as his works in the coming, obviously the poems as well. But the poem, the said poem, we will try to understand the importance of this poem in the light of the following points. And what are the following points? First of all, I told you about he was by nature, by born, he was as an English person. By religion, he is to be considered as a Jew, okay? And he moved in 1939 to USA as an immigrant, okay? He fled from USA to save his life and his family's life, like his. And then after settled in USA, he paid more attention on philosophical work and as well the religious work. Okay, and then in the point number 14, we say that about in the light of his work that whatsoever he did in USA. The educationists, the critics appreciated his work as well very much, and he was awarded, he was given a prize. The prize is to be said Pulitzer's. Pulitzer's Pulitzer Prize. This is Pulitzer. Pulitzer, it was the nature of a prize who was given to the very prominent and the very for those people who did some very extraordinary work in their life in the field of education. Right? Then we talk about his poetry. The nature and the theme of his poetry is very close to the nature, as obviously he did work over nature and the philosophy. That is why his poems are very much close to the reality. That is why his poetry can be said as a touching poetry. Whenever we read his poetry, we feel something very touching in our heart, sympathetical word, pity, especially. This is a very clear word about the pity. Pity means we take thirst over some natives or the people. Like that, if we see any deceased kind of a person in our life in the way going on the road, but obviously, maybe he is physically fit, just like a beggars. We have very clear examples about the beggars who may make themselves just like what we say in English, disabled like that kind of a person. So whenever he saw the people, he felt pity on them, right? So his poetry is very much close to what we see, the heart-touching poetry. Okay? And why? The reason of his heart-touching poetry is this: he tried to explain the sense of isolation. It means that his especially center of his poetry were those characters, those people who were leading a very isolated type of a life. Obviously, they were they were leading a very miserable life, right? So they were not contented, obviously, in their life. They were in a very hard condition. So that is why those people who were very close to isolation or who were making some ideas, some plans in isolation, so he tried to capture the inside of their mind, ideas of their minds, what maybe the person will be always thinking about his future as well. And then the alienation. Alienation means the outside force, the unknown force. Obviously, that doesn't belong to this earth. Obviously, this is what we say an alien force like that. According to the in German sense, an alien force is such kind of obviously a creature that lives in somewhere in this cosmos, in the universe, and they do not belong to the earth. And if they come to the earth and they have not a very proper identification about their speciality, their creature, their body, and the other things related to them, so that those kind of the creatures may call them the alienation. Why he used the word alienation in his poetry? Because Hitler, who had the mind to capture, to rule over throughout the world, and especially he wanted to the Jews. Jews were his special targets. He didn't want to see any kind of a Jew in his life. So the Second World War, it has been said more or less, might be true or false, that the cause of the Second World War was about the Jews. Hitler wanted to started to killing Jews in Germany, and they fled away. They saved their lives and tried to save their lives from in shape of immigrants or immigration like that. Okay, we have talked about the poetry, then we talk about especially about the German Jews. Obviously, as I have told you, that the German Jews were basically Hitler's special target, so they ran away from their country where they were leading a very peaceful and a very happy and a prosperous life. But as the Hitler attacked on Germany, obviously he was a German, what we say, in charge, chief of the armed staff, he was in charge, the king. So first of all, he tried to clean his country from the Jews to kill them and their generation, etc. So that is why the German Jews were his special target, and they fled away. From there, they had to leave their country to save their life. And then, obviously, this is what we the Hitler's attack, army attack. So they obviously ran away from their own country. Then we see about in point number 7, passport. This is a very important word. This word has been used in this poem as a symbol. Symbol of what? Symbol of livelihood. Mean, if you have the passport, it means you are a live person. You are a living, and obviously as a living person. Right? And if your passport has expired, it means that you are officially, but the documentation, according to the documentation, you are dead, you have no personal identity as well. So when the Jews went away from their own country, they left their own country, and they went to especially America. So at that time, during their stay, when their passport didn't expire, then, when they went to the ambassador's obviously office, they said that your passport has expired, so there is no use, you are officially dead. So come to next year, this is not a proper time to review through your passport, to reissue the new passport as well. So this is not the proper time. And at that stage, they were ignored, they were refused, and they were, what we say in simple word, that they were rubbish to go out. You don't have the right to live, obviously, in this country. Then the second important element, the politics. Obviously, political elements, politics. It also played a very important vital role. Why? Because during that time, when the Jews had no, they got their passport expired, and they have no documentary proof that they are the native citizens, and neither they were the citizens of any other country. So the politicians got an opportunity to discourage them, to revoke them, to what we say in simple word, that to demolish their characteristic, their charactership from every point of view. The politicians said that those kind of people who try to come into their country, and they were trying to, who were trying to become immigrants, to prove themselves as an immigrant. So they have no officially right to get a bread from their country, their place. So these people should be abolished from this area. The people should be run out from this side kind of their area. They have no place. They have no right to live at their own place. So the politicians played a very important and negative role at that time. Then the symbol of the life. What? The passport is, God once again said, the symbol of life. If the passport expires, obviously it means that even the person is alive, but officially or documentary, from the documentation's point of view, he has died. Then, Hitler means, hatred. It means that politicians, as I told you, played a very negative role. They hated such kind of those peoples. They did not like that these people should live here, and they have no right to take any kind of, even the single breath from their place. Why? Because neither they had nor money nor any kind of other property, so they were living a very miserable and in simple words, a begging life. Life of that was based on beggarship. Okay, their immigration should be haunted, being the ban. According to those persons, that the Jews should not be allowed to enter in their country. They should be stopped outside the country. They should not allowed to come here and to start for a happy and a prosperous life. So these are the very important elements that the writer W.H. Auden has tried to explain in the poetry. Obviously, if you will see all of these points, then definitely you will be very capable to understand obviously the poem and the nature, the theme of the poem as well. The wordings have been used in a very simple way. There is no any complication. The style is very simple. The style is very touching, and the language and the way, the idea, especially the sense of the explanation is very simple and straightforward. I do hope that you must have understood this very clearly. Thank you very much.